Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading with the nightly video update for Wednesday, December the 4th. And we had a pretty nice turnaround today in the market, if you did not see it. I've got the S&P on the chart up here. Well, let's start with that. Let me take this down and we'll start with the S&P. So today I'll look at the overnight action ahead of this, but as we know, yesterday we had some pretty good selling, and then today we rebounded just right back on track, and then we go into this flat going nowhere zombie kind of chop for the whole rest of the day. And I was talking about this in the room earlier today. What we've seen a lot of times in the last quite a few weeks actually is that all of the action happens in the first 20-30 minutes, hour of the day, and then the rest of the day we just kind of go into this sideways chop. Now yesterday we did come up a little bit, but anyway, pretty interesting how how that's been working. And also we do keep getting, like, end of the day little either flushes, or today we got a little flush there, and or a little rip into the end. But let's back this out and take a look at it and kind of go over what we've got here. So basically and we're still in the S&P, but basically this is Friday. So from last Friday we hit 3154. That was the all-time high, and then just immediately rolled over here on Monday, got kind of slammed down on Tuesday, all the way down to 3070. So it's a pretty decent drop, right? And then immediately just bounced off the bottom and started back up again. And if we zoom in here to yesterday, we were looking at this. I was trying to, of course, we're always trying to figure out what's going on with the market, but let me zoom in here. But I saw this on pretty bad news. This is all the China news, or the tariff's going to come off on December 15th or not, and China's threatening to do this and or not, and Trump's threatening to do this or not, and it's kind of going back and forth. So yesterday, with the tariff news, was pretty bad news. Basically Trump saying, well, we can wait till after the election. China's not going to do that because they are squirming a whole lot harder than we are on this whole negotiation deal. So I thought this could be pretty bad. You see this little bounce here? I thought this would roll over and come back down to test that level, and if we took that out, that probably would open the door to, I had levels at 3060 roughly, and 3050, and then kind of look out below stuff. But we didn't. We bounced. We never even came back to that level. Bounced and just really never looked back. And this alone tells me the strength of this market. It doesn't want to roll over. Then we get again the gap today. When we're going higher. I feel like a broken record. I've been saying this so much that we just need to keep playing this thing to the upside, and with an eye on the downside and hedging and that type thing. We know that. But again, let's back this out onto a longer time frame, and it puts it in perspective here. So this is a 1-year chart, and as you can see, what we got is tiny little pullback there. But ironically, I guess that one was maybe not even that, the magnitude, and just these tiny little bitty tiny selling here. And if we look back again, we've got big selling there. This was kind of chopping lower, but and it will happen. It'll happen at some point. I am, as much as I want it to happen, I kind of thinking now that we don't get it this year. It's not looking like it. Now the big unknown is December 15th. What's going to happen with those tariffs if they really don't come off and all that kind of stuff. But I will say this: I am actually, I'll go ahead and throw it out there. I'm looking at 3,200 for the end of the year, or higher, possibly. I'll probably do some kind of end of the year play there. I haven't done it yet, but I'm trying to figure out which is the best way to play it. But anyway, so the bottom line is that we need to assume that this is probably going to keep going, um, until it fails, and there's no way to know when it fails. It will probably be on, it'll probably be on China news or something. Now it may just be a end of the year, so the overall market's up 25%, S&P at least, and it may be a ring the register. Everybody high fives and pop open champagne, and then starting in January, maybe it's a different story, and maybe we get some kind of downdraft or something like that. It's way too early to tell for that, but again, for now, this looked like a long move off that low, and this one maybe is going to rival that one. I don't know. But again, we don't really have to know that. We just know that we want to keep looking to the upside here, and it's been buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, and that continues to work here. So that's what we'll keep doing. Let's compare real quick. NDX, of course, has a almost cookie cutter kind of chart, with a little dip here, and again, we're going to get into, we'll have another earnings season coming up in not too long, and so that might keep us moving higher in addition. So obviously nothing's going to happen with the Fed. Don't think anything's going to happen with the Fed the rest of the year, but at this point we probably this next week we really start the tax loss selling. But there's not been a lot of heavy losses for people to sell, except for selected pockets of stocks, like the weed stocks or whatever. But I don't know if that's enough to put a dent in the market, but we'll see. So, and if it does come down, people will use it as a buying opportunity. And I said as well in quite a few of the videos that if we do pull back, I will be a buyer, but I was looking to be a buyer down here, not really up here. Now I'm pretty light. I had 2 hedges on. I took one of them off on this downdraft, and I've still got one on for January, just as a kind of a trailing stop type hedge. But again, I'm in favor of buying the dips here. So one last thing, let's look at that's the NDX. Let's look at the rut. So the rut, we had this very, very long, very sustained pattern here where we had, it's very obvious now looking at it, where we're just chopping in this range, up and down, up and down. We broke through it a little bit. The question is, are we going to, will this continue, or does this, roll over? And again, no one knows. But very, very, very different pattern than the S&P that's basically straight up, and the NDX or the NASDAQ that's basically straight up too. So keep an eye on that. One last thing here, we'll look at the transports. So if we look at the transports here, kind of the same pattern as the rut basically. We've been in this long pattern of chop, and we've come back down. That's a 200-day right there. Very important to watch this, see what happens here. Do we fail, come back down here? That won't be good for the market. We'll see. I did notice in CP there was a lot of call buying. They report earnings, I believe it's in January. January 22nd, I believe. There was a pretty decent amount of call buying out there in the March options, so that's interesting, just to, as a side note. But anyway, keep an eye on that. So again, what we will do is to continue to play this to the upside on a shorter term basis. I'm thinking, and it makes sense, I did the math on the expected move, assuming we have, on the normal up day tomorrow, Friday, we could be at 3150 again. I've been targeting the 3100 level, 3125, 3150, and again, I feel kind of like a broken record because we've looked at that area so many times, but and here's 3150 right there. As we've kind of run into it and we finally get there and then we sell off and now we're running back towards it again. So that's what I've got in mind, at least for this Friday for now, based on the information I know and without any tweets or bad news, between now and then. So other than that, still continue to stay light, but I am looking at higher prices. And with that, let me wind it up and be nimble out there in your trading. Use tight stops and hedge. The higher we go, think more and more about hedging. So hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. And I'll see you guys at the next update. Take care.